Good morning, everyone. We're going to go ahead and get started. So welcome. Thank you for being here with us. We are also right now live on Facebook. So if you are joining us and watching this press conference over Facebook, thank you for being here. This is an important thing for us to talk about because Oregon is actually in the midst of an epidemic. And it's an epidemic of our own making. And what we find on the roads of Oregon, people are dying and people are being injured every day because of this epidemic. It's one that is completely preventable, and yet we can't seem to get a handle on it. And that is, of course, distracted driving, and more specifically, the use of a cell phone to text or to be on Facebook. And if you are listening on Facebook and you're driving, pull over legally and park, please, because this is a serious issue, and it's so serious that we at the Department of Transportation actually called together a task force last year, and we brought together law enforcement, judicial, legislative, folks from education, AAA, a behavioral psychologist, all the best and brightest that we could find around the state to help us handle this epidemic. And there were two things that this task force came up with as recommendations. And we're going to talk about both of those this morning. But the reason that we're here on Friday, the last work day of September, is because on October 1st, part of the task force recommendations becomes a reality. And that is an enhanced law in the state of Oregon about the use of your cell phone when you are driving your vehicle. This is important to pay attention to. We believe at the Department of Transportation that this will help save lives. And so joining us here first this morning to talk about this new law and the reason behind it, the passion behind why this came about, is the president of the Oregon Senate, Senator Peter Courtney. Senator.
Well, it's not just Peter Courtney. You got Representative Andy Olson. You have a lot of officials that have worked very hard to try to figure out a way to deal with one of the most remarkable, positive, wonderful things that exist in our lives. I'm very old. I'm 74. And I remember all I had was a payphone and letters. But this allows me a degree of peace and freedom, the likes of which I never knew until it came into my life, and allows me to know I'm always going to be close to my family wherever they are, to also communicate with my office, and it's just a wonderful, remarkably powerful thing. I'm not going to compare it to a chainsaw, but a chainsaw, if you can see where I live, is remarkably wonderful and powerful. The problem is, as remarkable and wonderful and powerful and necessary as it is, it's extremely dangerous when used in certain ways. And when you combine it with something else, which is extraordinarily important to how we live, that's extremely dangerous, the automobile, we got problems. I never knew it until the state police came into my class at Western Oregon years ago to show the freshmen there how dangerous it was, because when you're young, you're invincible. You can do 4 things at once, let alone 2. Your eye-hand coordination is better than everybody alive. And so I can do this, and I can drive. Well, guess what? The ability to literally move your eyes from here to here, I don't care if you're the most extraordinary athlete here today or in the world, you can't do it. You can't do it fast enough to keep from hitting somebody in a crosswalk. You can't do it fast enough to avoid a major car doing something in front of you they shouldn't. And so I started to see that this stuff was as dangerous as drinking and driving. But we didn't get there. I think this should be as dangerous and put in the criminal law the same way as drinking and driving, because in a way it is worse. But at least with the help of Representative Olson and others, we have dramatically increased the fees and where this is in the criminal code, trying beggingly to tell Oregonians, please, please don't do this. And by the way, you do know I'm trying to do the best I can with temptation. So more than once, I got to put that cell phone, because I don't have a booth, way away from the old guy, because when I hear it going in my car, I got to stay away. So I constantly have to discipline myself. Peter, you got to do what you say. So what we're trying to do here is not, overregulate or tell people how to live their lives. We're just trying to make him realize that this thing is every bit as dangerous as a bottle of liquor. Every bit as dangerous when it's misused. And the incidents are so bad now that even the state police and others are coming to me saying, this is an epidemic. You just heard that. So, it wasn't about Peter. The legislature is a group of 90 people along with the governor who worked very hard. So I'm grateful that we're going to try this approach. I'm not so sure it's not going to have to be the last approach, because if we don't get people's attention, we're going to get more people killed or badly injured, more property destroyed, and our roads are going to become more unsafe than they are now. So thank you, and please, love your cell phone, love it to death, but understand there's a place for love in everyone's life, and it's a place to sort of resist temptation. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Courtney, very much. Now I'd like to have Representative Andy Olson come up. Representative Olson was also on our task force and was a key member of the legislature, along with Senator Courtney, in getting House Bill 2597 into law. Representative.
Thanks, Tom. Morning, everyone. It's been a privilege to be a part of the task force over the last year and to come forward with House Bill 2597 that goes into effect this Sunday. One of the key things I want to share with you first is I greatly appreciate the insight and the vision that the director of Oregon Department of Transportation saw in this, in moving forward with a case that the Court of Appeals had made a decision on that actually kind of struck down the current cell phone law that we have in place. And Matt Garrett was very kind to call me and ask me to be part of this work group. So today, there's three components that I look at really strongly as we move forward over across the street there in the building on how we craft laws that are going to be impactful, that save lives. And that's really what this whole issue is with this bill, is to make the roads safer. That's really what we're after. And they are the three E's, what I've always kind of addressed them as. And it's education, engineering, and also enforcement. All three of those components exist in House Bill 2597 as we move forward with this. I greatly appreciate Department of Transportation as they're moving forward with the education piece, and they've continued to do so. We'll do so even more so with how the structure of the penalty phases of this law. But the idea behind it altogether of giving a tool to law enforcement to try to keep us safe on the road exists. And that's what this bill was all about, and I do think it's a great step on where we're at today. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Olson. This new law will give more tools to law enforcement, and we have really been partnering with folks in the law enforcement community. They were on our task force. They provided input because we needed to be able to have a law that is actually enforceable. And with us this morning, if you can see behind me here, and Dave, I don't know if you want to take the wide shot here and show, but we have a whole group of Marion County Sheriff's units, and also one from the Oregon State Police. And Marion County has been a really great partner in this, and they are really stepping up their efforts to educate but also enforce on this new cell phone law, which basically reduces the number of exemptions and also increases the penalties for holding and using your cell phone in a non-hands-free manner. Oregon State Police has been a great partner in this, and at this point I would like to ask Captain Teresa Bloom to come up, talk a little bit about how they're going to be enforcing this law and their commitment to it. Captain.
Good morning. I first want to thank ODOT for the great partnership we have together in transportation safety. I also want to thank the legislature for giving us the tools to help save lives. The Oregon State Police will continue its pledge and dedication to transportation safety by focusing on 5 major categories of driving behaviors that contribute to fatal or serious injury crashes. These categories are, of course, speed, occupant safety, lane usage, impaired driving, and the reason why we're here today, distracted driving. OSP refers to this as our Fatal 5. The new law that takes effect on October 1st will help us and our partner public safety agencies more effectively enforce distracted driving when it comes to handheld electronic devices. The Oregon State Police takes a hard stance on distracted driving and ask all of you to help us with this effort by putting your devices down and encouraging others to do the same. One of the programs we have developed to help with this is our unmarked patrol vehicles that I'm sure some of you have seen out and about on the roadways. But they are strategically placed around the state and they continue to be a successful tool of ours. Again, I want to thank our partners with ODOT and look forward to our continued work together to ensure Oregon's roadways are safe for our citizens and our visitors. Thank you.
Thank you, Captain. Now a little bit more as to the why and a few of the nuts and bolts of the new law. The Oregon Department of Transportation has an entire division that's devoted to improving safety on Oregon's roadways and highways. And joining us now is the Transportation Safety Division Administrator, Troy Costalis, who also has a real passion around this topic, and he's going to share a little bit more about the law with us. Troy.
Well, good morning. ODOT's proud to be part of this conversation and this effort in order to eliminate distracted driving on Oregon's roads and streets. But it's not just one person or one agency. As you've heard, it takes quite a few people in order to make this happen. I'd like to thank legislative leadership for being willing to take this forward, our public safety partners that have seen the tragedy and the impact of distracted driving for many years in Oregon, the industry itself stepping forward and saying, we recognize that we have a responsibility in this conversation in order to reduce distracted driving, and also the advocacy groups and efforts from corner to corner of our state. ODOT wants to be and is a leader in wanting to eliminate distracted driving. The law did not just come out from a dream or from thin air. The fact is, real crashes, real people are being harmed and injured every day in this state. We see too often crashes where a car has left the roadway for unknown reasons. While we don't have the facts behind it to say what was going on, it really leads us to believe that somehow, some way, some sort of distraction was engaged in that particular driver's decision or lack of decision making when the car left the roadway. Crashes related to distracted driving, when we do have the facts and able to look at the records, or the individual has given testimony that they were on the phone or active with the phone, have gone up over the past 10 years. And our hope is, Senate President Peter Courtney commented, the idea here is to break that cycle, break that addiction. Some of the effort related to education, the broad-based statewide effort, just put the phone down, put it away. And also some apps be developed, and Mr. Fuller will talk a little bit more about that, but what you can do in order to help incentivize yourself to not pick up that phone. The bottom line is put it away. And ODOT wants to continue to push our effort related to reducing the number of incidents with a vision towards zero fatalities broadly, as well as around in distracted driving. The agency itself is stepping forward. While we have the law, it says you could possibly connect with Bluetooth or hands-free, as an agency we're adopting a do not disturb policy, where when we are behind the wheel of a vehicle on state business, we are not to touch the phone, to answer the phone in any way, shape, or form. Our primary job is to drive and to focus on what our effort is. And so we'll be coming forward with that policy soon across the entire agency, and we will be a leader in this effort and look forward to other agencies and institutions joining us in that effort related to the do not disturb policy. This law can make a difference only if every one of us act upon what this law asks us to do. The law by itself sets the framework. The action, the activity, and the results is up to each and every one of us. That's how we make a difference. Thank you.
Thank you, Troy. And just going right off of what Troy said, the first part of this effort from the task force was new legislation to enhance the cell phone law in the state. Goes into effect on Sunday. The second part of it is how do we assist Oregonians in abiding by that law? Now, if you want to get more information about the new cell phone law, I would encourage you to go to a website that we have created called drivehealthy.org. There's a link on there with sort of a one-page explanation about the new law so that it can assist you in knowing how you can follow it. But knowing that you need to obey a law and actually obeying it can be two different things. And especially when it comes to the use of the cell phone as far as texting, Facebook, the distractions that come with it, it's very, very hard to put down. And that's why a lot of people are saying that we actually have an addiction to social media and our cell phones even while we're behind the wheel. And I spoke to a person a while back who said that they had joined a Facebook group and of different folks that were supporting each other. She got into her car and started driving and all of a sudden realized she had picked up her phone and was checking this Facebook group because she was concerned about the individuals there. Didn't even realize she was doing it while she was driving. That's the problem. We're doing it, we don't even realize it. So we at the department and using the recommendations from the task force came up with an idea that we are trying right now in Oregon to provide assistance to help obey the new cell phone laws. And you can get all the information on that at drivehealthy.org, that same website. One of the partners, and I'm going to explain a little bit about it here in just a second, but one of our partners in that effort representing the cell phone industry in Oregon is AT&T, and they have been marvelous. They came to Bend with us to talk to some folks about the Drive Healthy campaign. They have shown up here today. They're setting up their distracted driving simulator, which I would encourage you, if you're in the Salem area, come on down to the State Capitol Mall, and just, you can see, I've done this thing. You think you're really good at driving and texting? You're going to have a rude awakening when you take this simulator and you see just how easy it is to get into a crash or to hurt or worse, perhaps kill someone while you're driving if you're using your cell phone in your hand. So I'd like to ask Rich Roach from AT&T to come up and just make a couple remarks. Then we're going to finish up talking about the Drive Healthy campaign. Rich.
Thank you so much. AT&T really appreciates our partnership with ODOT, with our legislators, with our law enforcement. Thank you so much for all of your efforts to really make a difference in distracted driving. Just like Senator Courtney had said, the urge to pick up your phone in your car is so strong. AT&T has done research around this, and 7 of 10 people use their phone when they're driving. It could be for texting, it could be for posting, and get this, 1 of 10 of all of us use their phone to Snapchat when they're driving, and also video chatting. That's just craziness. So AT&T for the past 5 years has had a program, a campaign called It Can Wait. A very simple message: keep your eyes on the road, not on your phone. And with this, please, no texting, no video chatting, no posting. It's not worth a life. So, the one thing I can ask is just make sure that when you're driving, it can wait. Anything that you want to do on your phone, it's not worth a life. It can wait. Today, AT&T, we do have our It Can Wait virtual reality simulator here. I encourage everyone to go over there. It's a great experience, and you'll really see, it'll open your eyes as to what the hazards really are. Additionally, you can go into any of our stores and take a pledge. It can wait, so you don't have distracted driving. So thank you very much. Thank you for all your efforts. Thank you.
Thank you, Rich. So in 2016, nearly 500 people lost their lives on Oregon roadways. This is a dramatic increase. We erased a decade's worth of progress in serious injury and fatalities on Oregon roadways. And it caught our attention big time. What was the cause? It wasn't the road. Nothing had really changed in the way the roads had been constructed. It wasn't law enforcement. It wasn't emergency response. The difference really was this idea that Troy Kostalis mentioned of lane departure. People were leaving their lane of travel. They were going into the opposite lane and crashing into somebody. They were leaving the road. The best that we could figure out was that this was caused by distracted driving. So how do we break that addiction that we have to social media and to our phones while we're behind the wheel? And the task force came up with an unusual idea. Instead of just telling us how bad we are, because we all know we're not supposed to do it, let's take a positive approach. That's what Drive Healthy is all about. Drive Healthy is very simple. You put your hands on the wheel and you put your mind on the road. To assist that effort, what we've done is we have made the reduction of distracted driving into a game. Yes, a game. We partnered with a company out of California called Lifesaver, who themselves have a passion to reduce distracted driving. And they modified a free app, and we are branding it with Drive Healthy. You basically can go to drivehealthy.org, and here's how it works. You form up a team. It could be your 5 closest friends, folks at your school, at your workplace, at your church, at your synagogue, at your mosque, whatever it is, a group that you are connected with. And you form a team, you go to drivehealthy.org, you put your team name in there, you download the app. We'll have put your team name on that app. You can choose your team, and then you just drive. And what the app does is it knows when you're behind the wheel with your cell phone, and if you try to unlock it, it's going to warn you. Keep your eyes on the road. And what happens if you open your phone, other than creating a dangerous situation? You also ding your score. You guys have driven on the road and you've seen those "you're going this speed" sort of signs on there, where if you're going over the speed limit, it blinks at you until you slow down. Well, those actually work. It's that immediate feedback. And so this is the immediate feedback for don't drive distracted. You're driving, you've picked up your phone. And then the idea of the scoring, the idea of the competition between teams, we hope will encourage people to put the app on their phone, and then it will help them to break this addiction. So go to drivehealthy.org. We've got teams that are on there right now, and here's what I'm hoping will happen. We want people to challenge one another. We're already seeing this take place. We would like the mayor of the city of Albany to challenge the mayor of the city of Millersburg. We want Eugene to challenge Corvallis. We want U of O to challenge OSU, et cetera, et cetera. We want the night shift to challenge the day shift to see who is Oregon's safest driver. Now, I'll tell you, I have this app on my cell phone. It immediately changed my behavior. Partly because I realized if I pick up and open this phone, even though I think I can do it, because I'm a really good driver, I'll pay attention, I knew it was going to ding my score. And when I got to where I was going, I would look and see, oh, I opened the phone, I got dinged so many points. In fact, my director, Matt Garrett, says he religiously looks at his score every time he gets out of the car. And he gets really mad at himself if his score goes down. So we're encouraging everybody in Oregon to sign up. It's free. We also, thanks to our partner Lifesaver, we have some incentives where you can actually win prizes donated by partners through Lifesaver to help incentivize folks to put this on their phone. So go to drivehealthy.org, learn about what we're doing, join the campaign, and let's work together to reduce distracted driving and increase safety for all of us, because it is for all of us. I might be a non-distracted driver, but I was driving home the other day and I was going down the highway. It was a fairly narrow road, ditches on both sides. I saw a semi-truck coming toward me in the other direction. I noticed the driver was looking down. I figured they were probably looking at their phone. Then I noticed that the semi started moving into my lane. There was nowhere for me to go. There was a ditch on one side and a ditch on the other, and I had a truck in my lane. Now, thank goodness, this guy looked up in time and got back. But it made me realize that it's not just my behavior behind the wheel that matters. It's everyone. We all have to look out for one another. Well, thank you very much for coming. This concludes our press conference this morning. Again, go to Drive Healthy and learn about the new cell phone law. And if you're here with us at the Capitol Mall, or you're in the Salem area and you want to come down, the AT&T simulator will be up and running here shortly. And it is an experience you want to have. It will change your mind and your attitude about distracted driving. So again, my name is Tom Fuller. I run communications for the Department of Transportation. Happy to answer any questions that anyone has, but thank you very much for coming this morning. Technical questions about the law probably should go to Troy Costalis. We also have from our government affairs, government relations section, we have Amy Joyce, who worked on the bill a lot. Also Representative Olson and Senator Courtney, certainly they were the ones who crafted it, but technical in terms of So the question was around whether there is a part of the law allows you to have a single touch or swipe to activate a function in the phone. The question was really around whether that can happen if the phone is in your hand as well as mounted.
The bottom line of the law is related to hands-free. Your hands to be on the wheel, and the concentration is to make sure that you're in control of the vehicle. The legislation allows for touch or swipe to activate, deactivate, or a function of the device that is meant to be a very momentary action, single and back without taking your hands off the wheel. Holding the phone in or the electronic device of any sort in your hand during that time would then be an offense of the law. Yep, has to be mounted, put away, out of reach, if you're going to be activating it or touching it. If it's built into the vehicle, the under 18, the law enforcement likely not to deal with that, but dealing with the phone itself under 18 is not allowed to even use hands-free with the device that is independent of the vehicle. Yeah. Relationship to do all of that trip planning, what you're going to be doing before you get behind the wheel, and make sure that it's all set up, before you get going, so you can focus on your job, your priority one, which is handling the vehicle on the road. If you need to do some adjustment, you need to do something different with it, then pull over into a safe place. The law allows for that and encourages that in order to make some sort of adjustment along the way.
Captain, do you want to speak to that at all?
Officers' use of the phone while on the job.
Captain, could you...
There is an exception in the law for law enforcement, but they have to be officially engaged in the job, on the job. No, that's not. It specifies that they just have to be officially engaged in their work. It does not specify lights or sirens or anything of that nature.
All right, great. Thank you so much. We're going to continue to let the AT&T folks set up their It Can Wait distracted driving simulator. Again, go to drivehealthy.org, get on a team, load the app, and let's make Oregon roadways safer.